Well guys, this might be the biggest content leak in Halo history. I don't even know how to feel about it. It's bittersweet. It comes with a lot to talk about behind the scenes. I'm really going to try to be objective today guys. I'm going to cover all of the content that is now available, as well as the Digsite team's own personal testimony of how they've been treated in the past 2 to 3 years. I really cannot state enough how substantial what has happened is. I'm going to give you a broad idea of what actually happened, and then we'll deep dive from there. So last night, 80 gigabytes of cut and unreleased Halo content from the Digsite team, the archaeological group that set out to restore cut Halo content, leaked. The Digsite team are responsible for the 1999 Halo release, the Halo 2 E3 demo, and the Alpha Moon Arbiter mission I covered a few weeks ago. The content that released is comprehensive and is going to have very large ramifications and consequences going forward. We'll talk about that too. First of all, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through what is actually available currently, what's in the files, and I'm going to say it's early days, so much more will probably come out in the coming weeks. With that brief intro out of the way, here's the first large major piece of content, Halo E3 2000 and Macworld, now playable on PC. That's right, the entire build has leaked. Every single weapon and vehicle is usable. The entire scenario Bungie used back in the day is playable, and I'm honestly shocked at how comprehensive it is. For the 2000 E3 demo, Master Chief has every weapon. He can go into third person, free cam, and even first person. Every gun can be used machinima style and set at ease. You can even drive every vehicle. One thing I noticed when I was playing around with the build, there's even a button that lets you pretend talk. You press the button and Master Chief's head will go up and down in sync with you talking. Machinima fans would absolutely love this, and even me, as someone who's used Halo Theater for years, wow. The guns are super unique as well. Even the energy sword looks amazing. You also have wildlife, the original wildlife. You have Marines, a Warthog, Wraith, Spectre, and Banshees. You name it, and they can all be driven. I'm really going to showcase as much as possible. I really love the original vision Bungie had here, and even the Macworld stuff you're about to see, insane. So moving across to the Macworld stuff, and I'll have even more footage playing in the background when we move into the consequences of all of this content leaking. Halo emotes were going to be a thing. I'll just get that out of the way first. The Macworld build features emotes, 10 different unique emotes. Even one of them has Master Chief doing backflips. Can you believe it? There's different weapons, vehicles, and you can even have your own terrain-like forge tool to create your own experiences. There is 2 different Master Chief skins too, one being the very early Macworld armor, and the second being a closer Mark V Chief. There's also multiple different levels too, and it allows you to swap between the characters by pressing G. No, there's no controller support at all. It's all keyboard and mouse. Now, I reached out to multiple Digsite members to get a full list of the content in the files that is now available. I'll read the list out and then I'll talk about it a little bit. So we have Bungie's documentation for most of the games. We have the debug and release DLLs, which allow doing debug menu testing in MCC itself. Of course, we have the Macworld and E3 2000 pre-Xbox builds that leaked. That's what you're watching on screen. We also have pretty much most, if not all, of the cut level 3D files for Halo 1 to Halo 3, as well as some stuff from Reach and ODST. There's also the Halo Reach boat level, M40, the Halo 3 Guardian Forest level. You might remember the modder, Rejected Shotgun, making his own version of a Guardian. I'll have that on screen right now, as well as the Halo 3 Forerunner City level. To keep it going, there's lots of cut Halo Combat Evolved Jeff Steitzer announcer lines, potentially Xbox 360 tools, which are partially useless without the Halo 3 game data, but that might be useful for reverse engineers, and finally Halo 2 Vista, Xbox One MCC, and various Halo 3 pre-release tools. As you can see, it's a pretty comprehensive list of content, and I'm sure over time modders are going to find even more content that will find its way online. Many of the Digsite crew are of the opinion that now the content is out there, people can finish it off, or I should say the community can finish it off, and some great things can come of it. I wouldn't be surprised if people made full versions of the Macworld builds of the game, multiplayer player experiences, new campaigns, etc., the sky is the limit in that regard. So now that you guys have a rough idea of the content that did leak, let's talk about the consequences, the ramifications, and what it means to have all of this content come out. Firstly, it breaks the NDA, the non-disclosure agreement that Digsite members signed when they joined the team. Second, and Halo Studios immediately posted this, all future Digsite releases and the Digsite team in general is over. Many of the Digsite members said it's unlikely Microsoft or Halo Studios will ever do anything like this again. They may not even support mods in the future anymore. And on top of all of that, I say it kills any future dreams of mods coming to Xbox, a modded custom game browser for the MCC, or any further integration support in an official capacity to make mods more accessible to more players. That's the consequences. Next, I'm going to read exactly what the Digsite members said, how they felt, how they were treated, and just for the record, none of the core group of the Digsite team leaked all of this information. It was someone with higher clearance, which I hear is only a few people. Last week, I spoke about many Digsite members leaving. I also spoke about some forgers voicing their concerns with how they've been treated and that some, not all, are unhappy. I had a feeling there would be a continuation of this, but damn, I did not expect any of this. First of all, I'll start with this little sentence. It's impactful, it holds a lot of weight coming from a Digsite member, and it reads, "I do not believe the studio behind Halo will ever actually engage or support the legacy or community interests of Halo with any sincerity or authenticity for multiple reasons. Partially also why we quit." That's a very loaded sentence. And if you had to ask my opinion about it, it just seems like they're very, very frustrated. Another of the Digsite members had this to say: "The too long didn't read is two things, disagreements with Microsoft and in general. Half of us can't afford to continue work on this without it being an employment thing. Halo Combat Evolved is something I can easily work on and mod in my free time, but doing something like restoring a Halo 3 level would be a full-time job. There's no modded drama between any of the Digsite members, and in reality, this is probably the one good way a chunk of the Halo 3 and older content could get out." So some key takeaway points: the Digsite team worked for free, they knew it was a volunteer position upon joining, the workload became so high they either asked for studio support from Halo Studios or to be compensated with an actual wage to continue work as it just wasn't sustainable. Microsoft/Halo Studios was not willing to offer such things. From the tweets I saw from Neo and other Digsite members, it got so bad that half the Digsite team left as they couldn't afford rent or food to stay on. It honestly makes me sad because I wish they did get paid to continue working on these things. It's a loss no matter how which way I look at it. These Digsite members have knowledge that is not easily replicatable. It's going to be a big loss to not have the Digsite team around anymore. The following paragraphs give extra context to this. Neo goes on to say, to ship the Halo 2 E3 demo and Alpha Moon, I and a few others effectively crunched Digsite as a full or near full-time job for over 2 months. I made the call to delay Alpha Moon for 2 weeks so that we could ensure a quality standard adjacent to what we had just done for 3+ years to bring E3 to the front. So again, it took them 3 years to get the Halo 2 E3 demo out. They did that for free the entire time. While we accepted these would be volunteer positions, our hard work continued, not only without pay, but basically with no studio support or resources beyond our own backs. So again, they accepted it was a volunteer position, and they knew the 1999 Halo build, the Halo 2 E3 2003 demo, and Alpha Moon would all be done for free. They then spoke with Halo Studios after everything were released and were given the feedback that the stuff they did release, for example the Halo 2 E3 demo, was more successful than Microsoft expected, and they wanted the Digsite team to deliver another release on that level, still with no pay and no resources at all. And that's where I personally think Microsoft made the big mistake. They can see that it took a lot of work to get out the E3 demo. They saw there was a desire for classic Halo, and then it's still very popular. They literally acknowledge that. Even with the Digsite members saying, look, monetarily, we can't afford to do that again. It took a toll on our health. We just can't do it. Microsoft still wouldn't give a position to them or even any support to help ease the workload. What made things worse, if it can get any worse, was an Xbox employee actually weighed in and said the following: during my time at Xbox Publishing, we would spend millions monthly on partners that would deliver under 1% of the value in comparison to what the Digsite team was able to deliver. To hear this level of exploitation still exists in our industry is distasteful. So yes, they were volunteers, but in my heart, if I was Microsoft, if I was Halo Studios, after seeing the success, hard work, and awesome things the Digsite team created, as well as the personal problems that arose from them working so hard without pay for so long, I would have given them positions. I would have allowed them to work on the MCC as a small team. And as we just read from an Xbox employee, Microsoft should have been able to allocate the resources for that. It's just a shitty situation all around. Yeah, it's great. We have all of this content now for the time being, but the long-term ramifications of it are yet to be seen. We won't know what's being said behind closed doors after this, but we've seen time and time again a bigger divide between the Halo community and the wider gaming community and the developers over at Microsoft. As always, I try not to be overly negative or positive either way, but we could potentially never see Microsoft interact with modders again after this if they feel like it went too far. As some extra information, Mr. Rebs also reached out to some of the former Digsite team. He was told they are referring to Halo Studios leadership when they say Microsoft, and they never dealt with Microsoft people. The Halo Studios employees they work with are great, but there are issues with leadership. Always good to have extra context, but goddamn if I hear Halo leadership sucks one more time. Oh, and there you have it. That's the entire Digsite 80GB leak summed up so you all get the general idea of what's going on. I want it to be as objective and to the point as possible, as it's a lot to digest, but I'm sure more info will leak over the coming days, and when it does, I'll do a follow-up. I was actually on holiday when all of this dropped, but it's such substantial information, I came back earlier, I had to do a video about it. With that said, let me know what you think down in the comments below. I'll leave you guys today with what Sean, a Digsite member, said. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you guys later. Personally, I left due to disagreements with how Halo Studios views the community. To put words more simply, the work we did on Halo 2 E3 was not considered real work and was frequently compared to the Forge community. Prioritizing the community was overall not very high on the list for the studio. My impression of how the studio views the community is that it isn't real talent unless it was done within the studio walls. This affects everyone, whether you are a modder, artist, or even a player just wanting to share things. On top of this, Halo Studios has become increasingly more isolated as a company. The days where the community may have had a legitimate career path out of passion for Halo are over. Halo is a platform for its community, and dropping that pillar may lead to the most sanitized and soulless we have ever seen the franchise going forward.